You can solve a calculus equation in your head, but you panic when someone gives you feedback. You crushed every exam, but you can't seem to keep a relationship. You've got a brain full of knowledge, but a life full of chaos. That's not a lack of intelligence. It's a lack of emotional intelligence. And it's the reason why some average people thrive while geniuses get left behind. Because in the real world, your EQ decides your future. And in this video, I'll show you why EQ matters more than IQ in the real world. Let's start with a story. Chapter 1. The smartest guy in the room. There was a guy at my first job. His name was Peter. Peter was brilliant. Top of his class. Math whiz. Programming god. But every time someone disagreed with him, boom, full meltdown. He'd talk over people, roll his eyes, criticize ideas without listening. Clients stopped trusting him. Team avoided him. Management kept him off big projects. Eventually, he left. Not promoted, not celebrated, just frustrated. Why? He lacked EQ. Brain science fact. Peter Brain was great at solving problems, left hemisphere, logic, memory, but weak at managing social and emotional cues, which rely on the prefrontal cortex and mirror neuron system. In simple terms, high IQ, low people skills. And in the real world, that's a losing combo. Chapter 2. What is emotional intelligence really? So, what is EQ? According to psychologist Daniel Goleman, EQ has 5 parts. 1. Self-awareness, knowing what you feel and why. 2. Self-regulation, controlling impulses and moods. 3. Motivation, pushing forward despite setbacks. 4. Empathy, sensing what others feel. 5. Social skills, building good relationships. Let me simplify. EQ is your ability to, unless your emotions, control your reactions, read others, connect well, and unlike IQ, which is mostly fixed, EQ can grow with practice. Chapter 3. EQ versus IQ in action. Let's imagine a scenario. 2 candidates are applying for the same job. Candidate A has a stellar resume, top university, perfect GPA, awards, certifications, highly analytical. But during the interview, they're stiff, speak in a monotone, and fail to pick up on the interviewer's cues. When asked about a team conflict, they say, "I just told them they were wrong and moved on." Candidate B, on the other hand, has good qualifications. Not perfect, but solid. But their body language is open. They smile, maintain eye contact, and when asked about conflict, they share how they listened, empathized, and found a compromise. Who do you think gets the job? Most of the time, it's candidate B. Because in the real world, connection beats perfection. You can be a genius in theory, but if you can't collaborate, read the room, or regulate your emotions, you become a liability, not an asset. In fact, a study by TalentSmart involving over 1 million people found that 90% of top performers in the workplace score high in emotional intelligence, regardless of their IQ level. Let's break that down. You could be technically average, but if you manage emotions well, lead calmly, and handle tension like a pro, people want you on their team. On the flip side, someone with 160 IQ who lacks EQ might create more chaos than value. Why? Because IQ helps you get the job, but EQ helps you keep it, grow in it, lead in it. Chapter 4. The brain behind EQ. Here's what's happening inside your head when emotions take over. The amygdala is like your internal alarm system. When it detects a threat, even a social threat like rejection or embarrassment, it lights up, fast. Problem is, this emotional hijack shuts down your prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for logic, planning, and thoughtful decision-making. It's called an amygdala hijack, and it's why you say things you regret, react too fast, feel instantly defensive or panicked. High EQ individuals are better at noticing when this is happening, and they build a mental pause. Instead of reacting emotionally, they regulate, they breathe, they reframe. Example: Someone criticizes your idea in a meeting. Low EQ response. Well, your idea sucks too. High EQ response. I see what you're saying. Let's explore both approaches. Same situation, different brain and control. And the cool part, you can train your prefrontal cortex to be stronger, just like going to the gym. Chapter 5. How to build EQ like a muscle. Think of emotional intelligence like fitness. You're not born shredded. You train, you practice. Here are 5 exercises to grow your EQ. 1. Name it to tame it. When you feel something intense, anger, fear, jealousy, say it out loud or write it down. Labeling your emotions activates the prefrontal cortex and calms the amygdala. 2. Pause before you react. When something triggers you, count to 5. This gives your rational brain a chance to take the wheel. 3. Practice empathy daily. Try to guess what others are feeling. Reflect it back. You seem stressed, want to talk? It builds connection. 4. Check your self-talk. EQ isn't just about others. It's how you talk to yourself. Are you encouraging or harsh? Shift the inner narrative. 5. Get feedback. Ask people you trust, how do I come across emotionally? Growth starts with awareness. These habits don't just make you nicer, they make you more powerful. Emotionally stable people make better leaders, friends, and partners. Chapter 6. EQ in Leadership and Influence. Now let's talk leadership. High EQ leaders create high-performance teams. Period. They don't lead with fear, they lead with understanding. Why EQ matters in leadership. They listen more than they speak. They diffuse tension with calm instead of control. They inspire, not intimidate. According to Harvard Business Review, leaders with high EQ create workplaces with less turnover, more innovation, and higher morale. Let me give you a quick contrast. Low EQ boss doesn't notice burnout, shames mistakes, micromanages everything. High EQ boss checks in emotionally, uses failure as learning, builds trust and autonomy. And here's a secret. People don't leave companies, they leave managers. EQ isn't optional if you want to lead people well. It's non-negotiable. Chapter 7. EQ and Personal Relationships. Relationships, friends, family, romance. This is where EQ hits the heart. You can't math your way out of a fight. You can't logic your way into trust. What you need is emotional attunement. High EQ in relationships means listening without interrupting, expressing needs clearly, not passive-aggressively, reading your partner's mood without needing a speech, apologizing when you're wrong, and not just sorry you feel that way. Most relationship breakdowns aren't because of what's said, it's because of how it's said, or the fact that it wasn't said at all. EQ is what lets you stay calm in conflict, admit fault, give love in the way others receive it. Strong relationships equals strong life, period. Chapter 8. Final thoughts. Here's the big takeaway. IQ opens doors. EQ keeps them open. In today's world, people skills beat pure smarts. Because behind every opportunity, sale, job, or relationship, there's a human being. EQ isn't about being soft. It's about being smart with emotion, yours and others. So if you've ever felt like you're smart but stuck, this might be the key. Train your EQ. Watch your career, relationships, and happiness level up. Because in the end, it's not just about how much you know, it's about how well you connect. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like, drop a comment on your biggest EQ insight, and don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next one.